What's up, guys? It's DMB Universe, and yeah, this is another episode of this series that I'm still surprised gets over at least over 100 views. So to the 100 of you who actually do care to watch this series, I welcome you. For those who just simply ask for reactions, I still welcome you, even though they're probably not coming out for a while. As for what I'm currently doing, if this is coming out on Monday, I have to apologize to those of you who actually really care about watching this series that it didn't come out either Saturday or Sunday. Mainly because now that I have a personal computer and drawing tablet, I'm able to do Rooster Teeth work from home. And since I had to get a fight done relatively sooner rather than later when it comes to revisions of particular things, I kind of use that weekend, this weekend, to handle that. But now that it's done, I'm now doing this, and we can get started. This one's going to be, I think, if I'm correct, might be rather long, because I'm planning on getting through the entire encounter with the two demons that we talked about last episode in this one. And the confrontation is pretty meaty, along with a lot of things that I need to go deeper into in forms of character development and character growth and whatever. So, starting off with the first page where the competition starts to ramp up is Vec is about to get a good vantage point because since he's a sniper, he's going to see what they're up to and listen in on their conversation, because in technology days, in the year 2808, everything needs to be more technologically advanced. And so I'm trying to showcase that with Vec. As for the division, I'm going to go a little bit deeper in. I don't know if I already said this, but just to reiterate, this is the DEO. The DEO is the Demon Eradication Organization. This name was coined in by Yoko up there. So their entire mission is to subdue new types of demons so they can study and find weaknesses in order to constantly combat them properly, which is how they know how to take care of certain anger demons and certain fraud demons, and eliminate the ones that they already know about, making things easier. But the whole problem with the DEO and things in general, when it comes to the war with humans on demons and angels on demons and stuff like that, is the fact that once you kill a demon, it just goes right back to hell. And then when it goes to hell, it just goes back to its thing that allowed him to go to the planet to begin with, and so on and so forth. So it's a never-ending cycle, really. There's no real ending in sight until you find a way to permanently get rid of the threat, but we'll get into that later. So, next page we go into more of what Teeny and Gabbard are talking about. And Gabbard and Teeny are just looking for humans because they find it fun murdering people, and that's just how their personalities are like. It's straightforward, and it's their point. But they want to find people so they can kill them and have some fun. But they're not finding anything. This is a dead area filled with no people whatsoever. But maybe they did hear something about how New York had like a resurgence somewhere. And they believe the resurgence is somewhere either underground or maybe somewhere in the area, so they can try to find these people. Teeny says that I guess if we want to smoke them out, maybe we should destroy that giant building that's over there. And I'm talking about the Empire State Building, because apparently that held up during the time. And there's a reason why that particular building is held up, but I don't really go into that later. Get that bingo sheet out. But the Empire State Building is still very much intact. So they believe if they destroy that, they're either going to get some humans trying to protect it, or when it gets destroyed, the initial debris and dust that comes from it will draw whoever is hiding out. So they're planning on finding and destroying that thing outright. So Vec coins them in, saying that they're trying to find the remnants of New York. The remnants of New York by destroying the Empire State Building, and Yoko says we can't have that happen, considering that brand New York can be found if you do destroy the Empire State Building. It's something revolving around signal shit, but again, I'll talk about it when we get to it. So now they need to hurry up and do something about this threat before they accomplish what they're trying to accomplish, and they just go over what they need to do in order to take them down. Vex chimes in and says maybe he should try shooting them, but he says that denied, do not fire. You are meant to only support, not engage. So if something goes wrong, you do something once It's your time. You are not the combatant here. We are. We need to wait for B team to do the distraction, and then we can start to move in. You don't do anything. We'll see why later. So then we get the B team. Immediately got a grappling hook. I'm happy I was able to put in a grappling hook. And now we have another one of my favorite characters that's like in the minor of minor tiers of one of my favorite characters. And that is Leo Neverland. Leo Neverland. Leo. Alright. Funny story about Leo. Leo is verbatim designed with hair-wise all around. The same Leo character that I had in the Homestuck comic. Because I love Leo's character in the Homestuck comic so much, I told myself, if I do not make her an immediate character in this series now, because it used to be a character known as, I think I named her Valos? Valos. She was like a foreigner type of character, because in DO, a lot of different people of walks of life come together in these particular divisions and do their thing. But she basically was just a character, but to tell you the truth, I didn't really flesh her out. Unlike Leo here, who is 100% fleshed out of what I want to do with her character and how her character acts and does. And basically, to put Leo in very, very, very simplistic terms, is that she's the Ron Stoppable of the group. She does distractions. She's supposed to be the semi-comedy relief, and everything else revolving her character is just maddening, to tell you the truth. So I like how her first words, and I will say it outright, her first words that you get to hear her say in the series is, "Hope you're ready for a very severe ass implosion, you demon scumfucks." And all around, that sentence just defines Leo's character in its entirety, and I love it. So all in all, Leo is the distraction of the group. She's a part of B team, and B team's whole entire shtick is being great distractions and showing a bit of strategy on how they do distractions as well. It's not just like a straightforward, hey, this is the distraction. She's very loud, she's crazy, and she's jumping headfirst into danger. In the panel, she's even unclicked something, and the two notice her. And then immediately she gets wiped out, falling onto the ground and completely failing entirely. To Teeny and Gabbard's complete and utter confusion. So she gets up and prepares to run away, saying, I think I outstayed my welcome, because her entire distraction attempt failed. And by showing visually how exactly she works is that she has one distraction. She's a distraction, and her distraction is to distract them, so the real distraction can actually come about. AKA, she yells out, it grabs their attention, fails miserably, so they get disappointed. She runs away, and what the thing she unclipped was actually a frag grenade. So it's like, yay, clever bitch. That's what they say at the end there. So I like how I frame this. It's just, they're like, this is disappointing humans these days. They don't seem to understand what they get themselves into. The grenade comes down, and then it's like, oh, well then. It's one of my favorite types of jokes to go through in any series that I either work on or watch. So distraction goes on the way. The thing blows up, and she's out of the way of the blast. And now Yoko and Judo are about to head on in. Now I'm giving an emphasis on Judo's weapon here and how it's a kind of a retractable blade that can double as a short blade to a boomerang like blade thing. And now the physics of this is very weird. I tried to see if there's something in real life that's kind of like that, but to tell you the truth, the aerodynamics of an actual blade curving like that is not necessarily, right. But, the whole suspension of disbelief on certain occasions has to come into play somehow. So, Judo has like a boomerang blade, but it's not really a boomerang blade. It's more of just a way where he can throw his blade more accurately since it cuts through the air better. At least that much is very much true. So, he pulls it out and he's ready to go. Now, this page is actually interesting, and I was hoping to talk about it in more greater detail than I just expected to. First things first, this is just simply a page of Yoko and Judo running into action. Now, on one occasion, you have me, and I can say this page can just not exist, and it can just jump straight into the next page, because they said they're going to run in, so they're going to run in, and the next page where you see them, it should be that. But I was the type of guy who likes to show a level of consistency of people in one place and going into another, I guess you could say. Unless it's part of their character to just simply appear from nowhere, I tend to always do my best to have like a realistic showing of if they're in this location, they're far away from the location. I will show panels of them trying to get to that location. And this is one of those instances when I was working on this comic to make me realize that I will be great as a storyboard artist or an animator in general, because I'm the type of guy who just sits on his ass drawing things that maybe people won't even really care about. You know what I mean? And I was surprised that there was one reader, and I think I already mentioned them beforehand. There was one reader who pointed out that he liked the fact that I did show this type of interaction, this type of scene of them running into action, of them running toward the screen like that. I'm putting no emphasis on anything, even though it kind of looks like I'm putting emphasis on the way Judo holds the hilt of his blade. I guess in one way I can show in this scene that there's like a little hole at the end of the hilt of the blade, showing that he uses that to spin it around in a later page. So that's an easy way to spin his blade around and throw it. But that's pretty much all I gotta say here. It's primarily just to showcase, hey, they're in this location, they're about to get to this location, so this is me showing that. Even though people have told me I didn't actually have to do that. But all right, next page we have them recovering from the smoke, and see what I mean by I can just go from here, and I can just jump. Say he says we're about to go, and I can just jump straight to that. That's the sort of thing that I was talking about. Okay, so they're recovering from it. They're trying to see, and then you see Yoko punch the ever-loving fuck out of Gavert immediately because he knows he has to take him out outright before he gets too angry and gets out of control. So after that, I put emphasis on Yoko's hand that punched Gavert, and he says it looks like it was more than I thought. I can go into detail about this, but I think I'll talk about it more when Yoko brings it up himself. But as you can see, his arm is now cracking away. And if you read the prologue, you understand that when your skin cracks, it means that you're partially being obliterated. So the more cracks you get, the more of a chance that you just lose an entire being of yourself, unable to bring it back somehow. So this is the risk-reward thing of someone punching a demon like that. And Tini is about to blow Yoko's head off. But Judo here, showing his skills in how good he is at aiming and throwing his sword. He throws it and cuts Tini's arm clean off. So showing the strength of the blade, the strength of his throw, and the sharpness of the blade and the strength of his throw, being able to just cut straight through bone like that. So that's great. Since this is more action, it's very easy to go through, so it shouldn't take too long for me to finish all this. But Tini is pissed off, as you would if you got your arm chopped off like that, especially immediately, but also showing how much she just doesn't kind of care. She just is mad that it's gone, but it's not really she's in pain. She just, because that's her blasting arm. So Yoko tries to take this opportunity to hit her, but then he realizes that people tend to have two arms. So when you try to fight someone with a second arm, that's sort of how that works. So he gets stopped in his tracks because Tini has the ability to hold people's movements due to the whole controlling the atoms in the air shtick I gave these goddamn demons. And immediately, when you got to know Yoko, he dies. So, yeah, hopefully you didn't like him that much. So, the complications of war are very apparent. One thing that was great about when I watched Attack on Titan is that it showed realistically how fighting would be if you had to fight things that clearly were better than you in some way, shape, or form. So if you're a human going up against a very powerful being that can blow holes in mountains and shit like that, and you're a small group of people, if you don't get at least one type of casualty, I call that bullshit, really. It's like what plagued the last season of Game of Thrones so much, is that so many people were in so many dire situations, but they just get out of it. That's not realistic in forms of fighting or war at all. You aren't gonna have a group of 100,000 people go into a war against another couple of thousand people and then walk away with the exact same number of people. That is fundamentally impossible in my book in a wartime, unless you have like the elite of the elite of the elite going up against like some idiots who can't even know how to handle a gun. Maybe, but even then, I'm pretty sure if you gave a bunch of stupid people with a gun, at least one of them is gonna hurt somebody good. So it's like that sort of thing. There are laws of plausibility. So this is me showcasing that in times of like this, one false step can lead to one person's demise instantaneously without so much of a second thought. So the plan was run in, take out the anger guy, and immobilize the fraud by fooling her. She's unable to see what's actually going on. And the fool here was taking out her arm, and then Yoko is able to punch her lights out, but completely forgetting that, Teeny can just kind of use her second arm, and that grave error led to his demise. So Judo's upset. He yells out his name, and Teeny's about to take out Judo. And then when we get to the next page, she gets shot in the head. And that's Vec for you. He's supposed to be cover. He allowed her, and that's what he does. But here's the reason why he shouldn't have done that. And cover doesn't necessarily mean you engage. It just means you look out and inform people that whether something is coming so they can see it coming and then handle the situation themselves. This is the reason why you shouldn't engage, Vec, because shooting Teeny means absolutely jack shit. She took the head, she took the headshot, looks at the pain, looks at the bullet hole, and now she's mad. And now that she's really good at trajectory, she now knows where you are. And now that's the case, boom. Shoots a beam over in his location. She hates seeing her own blood because she's selfish like that. And now Vec got fucking exploded. So yay, more casualties of war. More casualties of war. Instantly, shit's going down south in incredibly fast, showing how big the threat of demons are. And this is a circle, and these are demons from the circle, from the 5th circle and the 8th circle. So this is a serious matter, and how the DEO is supposed to handle these type of things on a regular basis is telling. And how instantly you see, hey, all of New York was destroyed. All of New York can get destroyed by one shifter tick. And there are hundreds of thousands of these things all throughout the universe, even. So to see that these threats are currently on Earth right now, it means you have to bring in some top-notch people, and even their best is not good enough, especially if you look at it in this situation. So after Vec got exploded, Judo calls out to him, and now I make like a little joke. You know how in anime, whenever like an important character dies, they just kind of yell out their name. I just make fun of that with being like, General Vec, oh, shut up. Who's going to call out your name when you die? It's like, that's a whole deal, and I just found that funny. And also showing that Teeny can just instantly regrow her arm is another thing. I just like to showcase that these demons are just top-notch. They just can't be beaten like that. And here's where I show my lying expertise, and that Yoko is not dead. In fact, this is me trying to introduce slowly and properly to the viewers about how this current day and age is working out right now. So Teeny is saying that, hey, look at that. I have cellular regeneration, and I bet you stupid humans wish you had an ability like that. And Yoko's like, yeah, that is a very great ability. Cellular reconstruction is a very convenient thing. And then Teeny gets surprised, and the next page we have Yoko demolishing him. And I show visually that his arm is still gaining more cracks from that punch, even though he got to knock her out. He's still suffering some negative repercussions from it. And then he puts his thumb on his cheek, and he gains back his 8 with a circle tattoo, showing that whatever happened revolves around what he just did just then with that tattoo. And I explain in more detail here. So he turns around, says, "Okay, now all we have to do is just take care of you." And Gavert's like, how the hell do you humans able to do something like that? And this is me going off that this is the future. This isn't the past where you had primitive guns and shit. We have spaceships and shit like that. So interstellar travel. So I developed a way for humans to take on demons on an equal playing field in a way. Cell block seals. Cell block seals are one of many different types of buff seals that I put in this series in order for the humans could do something. Because while I will not say that you're going to have a lot of times humans are going to be able, well, actually, no, I'm lying. There will be a lot of times where humans showcase ingenuity over in time period over natural demon strength. There will be, these are one of the primary moments where I'm talking about, where science and ingenuity allowed humans to evolve fast enough to keep up with the fact that demons with these godlike abilities are now on this planet. So a cell block seal has the capability, once activated, you can basically have cellular reconstruction like Wolverine, and instantly regrow very vital organs. So if your heart, even to a minute detail, the only thing you have to worry about when it comes to a cell block seal is it activates as soon as you're about to die, and your body is still in the same temperature it was once you died. So it has that time to just kick in, regrow things, and bring you back instantaneously. So let's say, just like how Yoko here got his, essentially got a chunk of his lung pulled out. But let's say his entire heart exploded. The cell block seal would regrow his those vital organs. The only thing that the cell block seal can't do is heal your brain properly. So let's say you take damage to your brain, and let's say it's kind of like the Wolverine thing again. The only reason why Wolverine lost his memory is because even though you can regrow your brain, you will lose your memory, and that's how the brain works. They do this multiple times in manga and anime, and I'm showcasing it here, not here, but I'm saying just right now. The cell block seal basically makes you invincible, but if you get hurt, but if your brain gets hurt, you're basically SOL in a sense, because your old self has died then, and now your new self, this new you, now needs to relearn life again is here. So that's all I gotta say here. That's one of the many different seals that you'll see throughout the series, and one of my tells is that whenever you see a character with some type of tattoo on their body, it's probably a seal of some kind, because many different seals come in many different shapes, sizes, and designs. And I also showcase a little bit about how designs are important to understand what a seal actually is. So if you see a character with, I guess for a good example, that 8 with a circle on it, means he probably has a cell block seal, right? So if you see someone with that, they have a very high chance of surviving things they probably couldn't survive. And so on and so forth with other seals I will introduce in the future. So Yoko is explaining how the things works. And he's not just doing that to add exposition. He's doing it because he's being a distraction himself. Even though he's the A team, he's also a distraction to have the B team member show up behind Gabbert and immobilize him instantaneously. So I showed exposition with a bit of actual motivation to have that type of thing. So I'm happy I was able to do that at least. And also show that Leo is just fundamentally my favorite character. She just says, "Hey, I got you an anniversary gift," and just places it on his neck, and now he's immobilized. So Yoko is happy that we at least got one down, but that distraction gave Teeny enough time to regain her consciousness, and now she gets up. And now I'm about to show you the true form of what a shifter tick really looks like. And into the next page. Next page, they're more like spider hybrid creatures. And the thing is about spider hybrid creatures in my story is that I have multiple, in a sense. All right, frog demons, not all frog demons are like spider-like. I will say that Sagi's entire personality is stemmed from the Black Widow, where basically the whole concept of mating with another spider and then eating them afterwards and that sort of shit. That sly personality of what she gets after something else that another person wants and shit like that. Being a fraud of circumstance, it's like, hey, beautiful lady, but she'll bite your head off if she felt like it. That sort of thing. There'll be a spider equivalent variant in every single circle, just like how there's another variant in every single circle, but I'll get to that later. But this was the first design that came to my head when I wanted to give this particular character a form change, because form changes, because Dragon Ball really popularized that sort of thing, but it makes sense. The one thing about the whole transformations in Dragon Ball is because it's a clear, concise, easy to understand way that a character who was this strong is now more powerful than they were before. It is the best way to show power scaling and power ups in any regard, because it's like if you have a character and then he charges up and looks exactly the same, you don't know exactly if the power boost did anything, which is why it's so interesting where Super Saiyan 1 and Super Saiyan 2 came into play. When Super Saiyan 2 was first introduced by Gohan, you clearly see that his hair was hella spikier than usual. But then when you got to the grown-up stages with both Goku, Vegeta, and Gohan, when they're all grown up and they go Super Saiyan 2 again, the only thing that could differentiate the design of Super Saiyan 2 was there was lightning now. But even in certain cases, people can generate lightning anyways when they power up, so it is still getting kind of confusing which form they're in. And then you have Super Saiyan 3, which is a clear difference in a form change, which shows, hey, you may kind of still get confused between Super Saiyan 1 and Super Saiyan 2, but Super Saiyan 3 is like clearly that's Super Saiyan 3. The reason why I went on this tangent is because if it's one thing that I did take away from Dragon Ball in me growing up reading that, is that transformations are fun to do. So you will see a lot of people who will have form changes, which is why I think I brought it up a long time ago, in I think either episode 1 or episode 2, that the titles that you get for a certain character will change due to a transformation they have. And I'll only do the extra title to important characters who really need it, and characters I know won't be changing back from that form anytime soon. So there you go. And exactly what I did here in this page. I don't know why I blanked out on that. Then we had the first introduction of Teeny, and we saw her power level there. And now you have her title brought up again, and now it's True Teeny, the true side of what she really is, and that's her new power level. That sort of thing. So expect that a lot throughout the series. Because when I do character bios, which by the way I got done with a latest character bio with another one of my favorite characters on my DeviantArt page literally yesterday, and I'm going to be doing more character bios of the same character once they go through their form change in the show, which makes sense. So after showcasing the levels of strength and power up from previous Teeny to True Teeny, Yoko disperses Leo to take that demon and go to the evac point while he takes care of her, and showing the new level of strength, trying to say that, you know, you're just gonna jump headfirst into danger. Facing your fear is very apparent, but Yoko's not the type of guy. He's not facing his fear. He's just doing his job. You don't face your fear if you're not scared of anything, and I like that line a lot. So, but before any type of fighting to occur, you forget that judo's a thing. And Judo comes in and stabs her straight through the chest. Why did I say straight through the chest and not through the heart? Because, well, if you know anything about spiders, their hearts are located in their giant butt. So, yeah, that was a fail. That's why I like the reaction of, oh, she got stabbed through the chest. And then she's like, well, you didn't do anything. She's even nice enough to say that you're actually standing on my heart right now. So Judo gets his ass choked out and slammed into to the ground. And I was like, yeah. Judo's like, I'm this is one way of showing that your character is still very much weak, unable to take out this one demon, even when he had the element of surprise. It's the lack of knowledge of spiders that led to his downfall. So, after getting slammed into the wall, I show something about Judo's character that we're going to delve deeper into as this particular chapter moves onward. And as he gets slammed into the ground, he starts to cry when Teeny is messing with him and saying that he's probably going to threaten to eat him. As soon as he starts crying, Teeny mocks him, saying that you're a soldier, you're a person who's supposed to be taking on demons for basically a living, and you're crying. That's pathetic. That is deeply pathetic. And Judo tries to say that the only reason why he's crying because he literally just got slammed into the goddamn ground by a giant fucking spider bitch. So yeah, I'm pretty sure pain or otherwise you're gonna show some type of emotion from that. And then he says at least he never shows off or taunt others until after he wins a match. And then Teeny's like, the hell are you talking about? And immediately forgetting that Yoko is a thing. See, now to be completely and utterly fair, again, when I got to this page, is that Judo was crying for real, but he was using that to his advantage, because if you remember, you have to fool the fool in order to actually get a good hit on them. So Judo intentionally missed, quote unquote, her heart. He knows that spiders have their hearts located in their giant fucking butt sacks. But he knew that she would get like that if she was deeply under the impression that he was trying to actually kill her with that move. So giving Yoko a prime opportunity to punch the ever-loving fuck out of her to the point where his arm does shatter away out of existence like that. So really trying to make sure that she doesn't get up after it. And all of what I just said gets explained here. And I also reveal that Yoko and Judo are, in fact, father and son in this case. So if it from me, I'll just tell you, yes, Judo is quote-unquote Judas from the past. So this is us seeing that Judo was adopted by this character, Yoko, and getting this name. We'll get more into why Yoko is the adoptive father, what he is to Judo in general, and just how he works and functions and shit like that. And how he's a bad liar. And I'm going to say he's a bad liar in this particular page here. Judo is helped up by his dad, proud that he was able to, do his job like that. Making it so that he distracted her long enough for him to get a hit in. And then he asks about your arm that just got, blowed up. You're just going to heal that off with the cell block seal, right? And Yoko explains that he can't heal that of which doesn't exist. It's not that when your body is destroyed or something like that by regular means, like cut, stabbed, exploded, or something like that. The cell block seal will do its best to regenerate whatever part of you it is. Unless you're like mincemeat, you're gonna come back from the cell block seal. But obliteration is a completely separate thing. Yoko's arm is gone. For the lack of any other better term, it is gone. To the point where you might as well say he was never born with an arm to begin with. And cell block seals also cannot heal natural birth defects like that too. So in the end, Yoko lost his arm. He's not going to get his arm back. And that's one casualty that will stay from this encounter. And after revealing more about what Yoko is and how good he is when it comes to his job, I also show that this was very much something he wanted to happen. So he loses his arm. He explains to Judo that when humans punch demons that hard, their bodies start to crack away from existence due to demons being incredibly powerful. And Judo calls it out and says that doesn't make any sense. And if you know this, why the hell don't you use a weapon like any one of us and use your fists? If that's the case. And just to show a little bit of foreshadowing of how Yoko acts and what he does, he thinks 17 steps ahead. He said, you'll get to know it when you're older, and he's not lying. Once Judo becomes older, he'll explain more about why this encounter was the way it is and why he did everything. So, yay to that. So now we got done with the encounter, we're going to get up to the rest of the falling resolution of this entire conflict. And as they continue to talk, Judo's like, even though that punch was really good, we should probably make sure that she's unable to get up. And then, I do this a lot apparently, is that you have to remember there are multiple people during this confrontation. You had Vec, you had Judo, you had Yoko, you had Leo who showed up, and you also had Nina. Nina's also doing her job as a falconer, putting various traps around the area, so just in case someone tries to escape, do something, she is the person to make sure that stays relevant. I also do this a lot with her character. I didn't expect this to actually become a running thing, and I swear to Christ, this is more of a subconscious thing that I did with her character, so I'm just kind of rolling with it at this point, is that I just kind of make her show up. And I mean this. It's like, one moment, she's just nowhere, and second, in one other panel, she just shows up and does something. And one person pointed it out during the entirety of the story, and I'm happy about that, because I swear to Christ, I did not intend for this to actually be a character trait of hers. But yes, Nina's character trait now is that since she's a falconer, she's really good at just hiding herself, placing traps, and making sure that whatever is going to go into that trap gets into that trap, so on and so forth. And now, when a need calls for it, if she is available and she has the necessary means to do something, she's gonna show up and do it randomly. So she gives in a good kick to that to the shifter tick because of what happened with Vec, and we see that Vec survived the explosion because, as I already showed through Yoko, with the cell block seal, you can pretty much survive through a lot of things. So Vec is fine. He gets himself up, and his leg is the only thing that really was crushed under all that debris. So he has Nina pull him out, so the rest of the nerve endings can just snap off, and activate the cell block seal. Now, this is what I mean when it comes to the designs of cell blocks, of seals in general, to understand something. All right, I've already showcased and pretty much said in certain occasions that Yoko is not everything that he seems. He's actually doing some things, saying some stuff that doesn't really make so much sense if you put even monochrome of thought into it. It's like, why do these sort of things that will clearly have negative repercussions on your body if you have a way to avoid it? But he apparently didn't. He really instinctively kept punching with the same goddamn hand against these things that obliterates his body. Why do you keep doing that? So that's one thing that was kind of weird. Then, when you see him get blasted through the chest, you see him take off and put on his tattoo that was on his cheek. And then, so it's like, oh, cell block seals. He explains it. That must be the design of what a cell block seal is. But then you get to Vec, and you see his cell block seal. It's sort of a V with 2 dots. Why is his cell block? And then it's like, okay, it's either, why is his cell block seal different from the design of Yoko's cell block seal, or cell block seals and seals in general can always have different designs. That's pretty much where this goes into. Plus, since it's kind of like a V, you can kind of get very mistaken that he has it look like a V for Vec. So, that's up in the air. But as the writer, I'll let you know, that's my small hints to small, like, because it's like me, I have a hard time balancing being blatant and being too subtle. And I understand that, which is why I'm happy this isn't like the final cut to my story. This is still very much a rundown of making sure that I can get the story out in some way, shape, or form to make sure I keep understanding how the story is going to continue moving forward. So if there's better ways to showcase in a proper manner without obviously telling the viewer, like how I'm doing right now, that these things are set in this sort of way to show a certain outcome later, I'm all ears, because I don't believe I'm a great story writer. I don't believe that. I honestly believe I'm very mediocre in a lot of things that I do. But even though I'm working at Rooster Teeth, I still think I suck at drawing. So I'm a very big self-loather. But I'm happy to explain this sort of thing so you can understand how my brain works and how it functions and stuff like that. So you see Vec, you see him activating his cell block seal, and you see it immediately working and reconstructing his leg. And you also see a little bit of a nice interaction between Nita and Vec, that they're real good friends, and the fact that she gave it a good kick for Vec for it really shows that she cares about him. So they get up, they start moving forward to where Judo and Yoko are, and they ask, "Where the hell is your arm going?" He's like, "Yeah, I lost an arm. It's gone. Whatever. Let's get out of here. We gotta get out now. So wherever the rendezvous point is, we just need to wait for our driver." And I'm happy that I was instantly able to showcase it. The driver just crashes through a building, and now you see him. Not much to really say from here other than, hey, there's small interaction. They're just trying to get back to their particular spots, and more people pointing out that Yoko is an idiot for losing his arm and shit like that. So then we have Leo's brother, Tio Neverland, a very skilled driver. Yes, his eyes are being covered by his hair. And no, this isn't the anime trope. He actually cannot see. His eyes do work. He's not blind. He just doesn't cut his hair, so he can't see. So he's your driver, and he's just really good at sensing. Like, instinctively sensing. He doesn't actually have sensory abilities. So he's a really good driver, and he crashed through a building showing his level of driving skill. So Leo and Tio. Leo and Tio are brother and sister, just like how they're brother and sister in the Homestuck comic. And Tio is another character that I really enjoyed drawing. There's something about him that I'll explain later, because I don't think it's relevant now. So when it becomes like remotely relevant, I'll explain it, because media in this day and age kind of just overhypes it a little bit too much, and I'm just trying to show it you can do it naturally pretty easily. So going off from that, we get to the last page that I'm going to cover through this particular one. And yeah, only 38 minutes. It's not that much. Is the final page showing one of the bases of the DEO. And this is DEO South, I believe, if I remember my placements correctly. DEO South is run by a character we'll get into literally the next page. But this page is supposed to say, hey, this is the DEO. The DEO is the special tax unit that is relegated to making sure that the demons on Earth are eradicated and taken care of in some way, shape, or form before they're able to do too much damage to the actual landscape. There's something you need to know when it comes to being on Earth and how the Earth functions and how people talk, do things, and manage this place. The DEO is the main source of defense on Earth right now. So you have DO North, DO South, DO West, and DO East. Each run by a leader, and all have very special forces that handle a particular type of thing. And I'm gonna tell you that DO South is considered to be like low tier on forms of the spectrum of soldier units. Okay, so what you just saw right there is that entire encounter with these DO members. Yoko's squad is considered to be the best squad, one of the best squads in the entire division, because Yoko himself is a really great captain in forms of how he how he takes care of problems and understands certain things and shit like that. He is considered one of the best. And I'm going to let you know that DO South is the weakest in forms of military might DOs out there. It's when you get to East and West. East and West DO are mid-tier in forms of things. So they can take care of demons far more strong, far more powerful than Teeny and Gabbert were. They can instantly take out, let's say if either of their units went into the battle, they would have won instantaneously, because they're able to take them out way easier than what I just showcased them to be able to do. And then you get DO North. And DO North is like the polar opposite to DO South. While they are the weakest, North is the strongest. They have the most powerful units, they have the most powerful weaponry, they have the most strategic minds, and they have the most powerful leader running that place all throughout the day and all throughout the nights. So that's one thing that I want to point out. It's not necessarily explained here. It's more like I just wanted to throw that out there, and that entire encounter could have been handled way easier by any other DO division. So the DO all around are comprised of many different people all throughout the planet, and all speaking the universal language. That's now I'm just gonna clarify, it's just English, because making up any other language in any other way would have to be just simple for everyone to just understand that I'm not gonna just make an entire new language and write all their dialogue in that new language. No, just go with English, but know that they all understand each other type of deal. Also, thanks to angels, because they are a thing here, and taking care of demon threats is like the primary thing. I'm gonna get to why taking out certain demons is very important and why other things are very important. And it probably will be in the next episode next week. But that's pretty much all I have to say on this episode for right now. So all in all, that was the encounter. Hopefully, it was my first real instance of showing an actual fight with a beginning, middle, and end, and instead of just the previous times where you just see it start and end, or it start and it's just a stomp in forms of when Judas was trying to fight his dad. So yeah, I try to be better when it comes to like fights in general, where you get a good back and forth and nothing's really set in stone until one person makes a huge mistake. And I really wanted to showcase throughout that encounter that those two demons have that particular weakness about them, in that an anger demon can't really be all that strong unless they're angry, and a fraud demon is basically useless if they're constantly being tricked every single time. And I think I accomplished that. I believe I did. So all in all, hopefully this makes you intrigued at all about how I script my fights. Because one of the things about Dragon Ball and about other anime that I got to see is that I like the fights that revolve around strategic placing and not so much 100% full power blunt force. It's not like I don't have those fights, because it's not like I'm not a guy who loves that sort of thing. I mean, Twilight versus T-Rex is still one of my favorites, and the only strategy is in there is that hit him hard. So it's not like I don't like that type of thing, but when you come to characters who are clearly weaker than the other characters that they're fighting, strategy and strategic movement is the other thing. But they were more evenly matched. I try to put both things at the same time. And that sort of thing. But if there's completely outclassed and strategy will do nothing, then I will show like a complete one-shot stomp type of deal. So, like any other battle really should be handled, really. So, yeah, this is going to be a universe. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.